Faith on Film, a program that has been created specifically to keep you informed and up to date on everything that's happening in the world of faith and family films. Now, I want to start today's program with a question for you, okay? What if you were at your elite Hollywood Who's Who party when they found out you were making Christian films and they literally and physically turned their backs on you? What if they blacklisted you? Now, I probably won't get your answer on this, but we will get an answer from somebody who this very thing happened to them. Let me just give you her proper introduction here. Nicole Abisinio started working as a production accountant in New York City, and then started to work in film funding and as an EP for agencies and producers with packaged projects, bringing multi-million-dollar deals to the table for films with actors including Terence Howard, Jack Black, and my all-time favorite, Samuel L. Jackson. This led her to an interest in making her own independent features, where she finally found her niche. After making thrillers, action films, and art house features, she transferred over to family features. Now, she has run 3 companies, and her new company, Resurrection Pictures, makes inspiring true stories for a worldwide distribution. Nicole continues to work as a producer, actress, casting director, development and marketing executive for films including Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge, The Investigator, The Turnaround, Roma Downey and Mark Burnett's Son of God, Different Dreamers, Love Different, and Junction 395. Nicole, how are you? Welcome to Faith on Film.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I realize that we've known each other for so many years, but we've never had the chance to sit down and actually talk about our stories.
I know, we're always just talking about maybe a project we're working on at the time, but really what we want to know today is basically your journey. Now, you've obviously had a very successful, I'm going to call it Hollywood career, and then there was a change. And we want to hear all about that. I also did some research on you and found out just a lot of cool, interesting things which we're going to try to touch upon as we go through this program. But let's start to find out what your journey was.
Sure. I didn't know where you wanted me to start, but I always wanted. So I was born on I always wanted to be in this business. I mean, it literally was my first words. I never wanted anything else. As soon as I could talk, I was literally going in malls and just like stepping up on the stage with a little boom box and anything I could do to just wanted to dance or act or just anything. And I started in theater, and my mom, I wanted to be professionally in the business, but my mom really didn't want me to be a child actor, and so she let me do stuff through, small things along the way, right. Commercials, industrials, all of these things growing up, and let me leave to go do theater and little travel shows and stuff. But I had to wait until I was done with school. So fast forward, go to school for theater, but while I was there, I also did economics, which I never expected to do, and it ended up serving me. God always has a plan.
Yes, for.
Yeah, I mean, it literally, that in itself changed, everything. But as soon as I got out of school, I started doing, commercials, modeling for a living so that I could go do my theater at night for free. I hated modeling, but it paid the bills. And then I could go do all these crazy shows. I was not a Christian. I did not, I would say that the film business was my God, which I didn't even, which I did not realize.
Statement. Yeah.
Which I had no idea, but what I realized along the way, I mean, it was my priority. It was my first love. It was my first passion. It was what I put everything into, and it was everything that mattered to me. And so that is what God is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I'm on this journey, was doing well. My first show was a Nickelodeon. I did a kids show there, which was great. But when I left and went to New York City, I was supposed to go to LA, and at the last second I turned my ticket in for New York City. I don't know why, I felt that that's where I was supposed to be. And as I started getting auditions, like it's different there. I feel like, you know, I had started in Florida, Orlando. There is a lot of, I think, family-friendly stuff, such as that, where you don't really run into the same things that you do once you go into the larger New York, LA market. Like I said, I was doing kid shows. I was doing Verizon commercials. I was doing the AOL girl. I was the pancake girl for IHOP. I mean, you name it. And, of course, I was also the token ethnic because no one really knows my background. And so, but when I got there, like everything changed. And it wasn't just, you know, casting couch stuff of people always trying to work that angle, which you hear about, which is 100% true. But I felt like that I was ready for. Because one thing that I always was I was like pro-woman. So even when I was, you know, liberal, not God, I was very like, how dare you, you know, try to do this to women. So I wasn't into a lot of those things. So that's not where I struggled. Where I struggled was being what they wanted me to be and doing what they wanted me to do and constantly, you know, morphing or changing, which started to take away from who I was. And so I think my first big role was this like big role. I mean, I started doing stuff like Law and Order. I had a small role in a Spike Lee movie. I had these little things, and I was making a living, you know, with commercials and all this stuff. But the Bill Murray movie was my first kind of like where people really noticed me. And it was an all-star cast except for me and one other girl. It was called Broken Flowers. Okay. So it was Bill Murray, Sharon Stone, Jessica Lange, Jeffrey Wright. I mean, you name it. Like I showed up and I was just like, what's happening right now? You know, here it is. My dreams are coming true. And then I'd asked Bill Murray for a letter of recommendation, which he hand wrote to me.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, he wrote it on a. We were at the premiere after the premiere, and he's like wrote out this really funny but great one that I was able to send out to people. But it was after that when people started taking notice, and I started just different things like I'm dieting, which I always weighed like maybe at the most 100 pounds at the most, but I was down to 90.
Oh my goodness.
And so while my friends were telling me that I looked like a head on a stick, like they literally were like, you don't look so good, everyone else was telling me how fabulous I looked and how amazing it was and how it was my time. And I was meanwhile, I'm in the gym twice a day, double workouts. You know, my life is like, I have to look perfect. I have to look perfect.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a quick break and then I want to come back. And first of all, I want to talk about, you know, on the teaser I mentioned the party and people literally, you know, turning their backs on you. So I want you to comment on that a little bit. And then just a whole lot of things that could be fun and interesting to find out that happened kind of during your career, all right?
Sure.
Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Encourage TV. Family-friendly and faith-friendly content absolutely free. Subscribe today and watch hundreds of hours of content on our streaming channels. Visit encouragetv.com today.
They say it's really big.
What's really big?
Noah's Ark, silly.
Oh, I know. It's bigger than the size of our house.
It's a little bigger than that.
Like the size of 2 houses. No, 2 houses and a spaceship. I bet it's even bigger than the castle.
Don't be ridiculous. That's impossible.
Only one university in the nation was chosen to demonstrate at the World Equestrian Games, and it's the only Christian university in the South offering an equine management major. Only one university produced the video leading into coverage for the Games. And it's the only university with students hired as part of a broadcast crew for 9 Olympic Games. One university, equipping students for a lifetime of leadership and service. Asbury University. Start here, impact the world.
Welcome back to Faith on Film. We're here with Nicole Abisinio. Nicole, on the teaser, I mentioned something about people turning their backs on you when they found out you were doing Christian movies. Comment on that a little bit. Did they literally really turn around and show you their backs?
Yes.
Wow. You know, you always hear of being blacklisted when Hollywood finds out you're a Christian, but I've never heard of somebody actually literally just shunning you, if you will. What was that like?
Well, it was better than the initial reaction, which was they looked at me like I had murdered their mother.
Oh my gosh.
With such an unfortunate, utter hatred. And it's interesting because I was a baby Christian. I had just converted. And I'm at the height of my career at this point. I mean, I can get in any door. I can talk to the top agents, the top stars. I mean, this was like the Hollywood elite. This is it. And because I was never Christian before, when I said that I was doing Christian film, I didn't ever, it didn't cross my mind. I was so naive about it. I was just like, hey, I'm doing Christian movie now, you know. I was bouncy. I was like, I love Jesus now. It's awesome. You know, I mean, that's what happens when you first get saved and you're first. Oh, my goodness. But so I didn't expect the reaction, you know, because I was always a very honest, open person. And whenever I used to be open and honest because I was when all the evil I was doing, everyone was like, that's awesome. I mean, I was making major, you know, horror movies and just fight films, just beating the heck out of each other. I mean, just brutal, like F-bombs. I mean, so many F-bombs. Wow. I don't know if you do. So I didn't expect it. But yeah, they literally at this party in LA, it was our annual event. It's a big market. And then if you're well known or if you're known or you're accepted, you get into these, you know, the top parties at night. And so that's what it was. And yeah, they literally physically turned their backs and pretended that they didn't
even know you,
that I wasn't there. And then they never took my call again. And I'd worked with these people for
but
years. I had raised money for these people.
That didn't stop you from loving Jesus anymore, did it?
It actually had the opposite effect because my conversion, there was so much in my conversion that by the time that happened, I was so sold out that like I didn't care. Like all my passion went from the film industry to Jesus. Film was at that point something that I did. It wasn't who I was anymore.
You know, and on the first segment, you talked about how you really, I mean, this was a passion from when you were a kid. And that seems to be a very common thing with almost everybody I interview. All the people that are involved in faith-based content really started, their passion started way back when they were, 3 years old, 4 or 5. And it really kind of proves that God has a purpose from you, purpose for you from the very beginning. And even if you kind of sometimes stray into a different direction, he eventually just brings you right back, doesn't he?
Oh, and he did. I mean, God can reach you anywhere. He can find you anywhere. And that's what was so amazing is that he actually found me in Cannes Film Festival in France. Oh my goodness. At a Woody Allen premiere standing on the red carpet. That's when the Lord first came to me. It was so surreal.
Well, we're glad he did, and we're glad you are doing what you're doing. Now, there's a few things that I've been saying I've found out about you, and I just thought they were kind of interesting. One of them is... one of them is that the mob offered you to invest in one of your movies. Was this one of the Christian movies or one of your prior movies?
No, I mean, so all my years in Manhattan, I was not Christian, right, and I'm actually Spanish and Polish, but the Italians had kind of adopted me because I kind of look Italian. But yeah, no, I was in a meeting. It was when I had first. So I started producing because I wanted the control. I didn't start producing because I was Christian. It was actually out of anger because I was on a Robert De Niro movie and the producer had asked me for a massage. And I got
that was
so
another
angry.
question I was going to ask you about.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to jump. It was the natural flow.
Yes, no, this is great.
But yes, so
And so
I
did
got
you
so
use
angry.
did you use oil on the massage or
Fire?
Fire?
Fire,
Oh
Isaac.
my goodness.
Again, was so sweet about. I didn't even. I was like, I'll check around and see. He asked me if he knew anywhere where he could get a good massage. I'm like, I'll ask around for you. It's just
Fantastic.
totally. And then of course I realized because I just didn't. I didn't think like that.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. I really am. And you know what though?
I mean, it was God. Hold on though, but it wasn't me at
Right.
all. Like remember, even this was before. I mean, there was things that God protected me from, and that I didn't. Well, I fell into some things. There were some things that I didn't at all, but it was literally Him. The Holy Spirit, is written on our hearts. So even before I had Him, He was able to get me out of some situations for sure.
That's so wonderful. You know what? Let's take another quick break right now, and then when we come back, we'll talk maybe about another one. But also, you wrote a book, and I want to talk about that book a little bit so people will know how to get that book. All right, folks, don't go away. We're going to be right back.
I never realized how much work goes into taking care of horses.
You think that's hard? Try taking care of thousands of animals at the same time.
Go ahead. Think bigger.
Just one life, a perfect unknown. And your heart starts beating hard. I'm gonna keep on dreaming. I wanna feel that love. I wanna get that feeling. I wanna get that feeling.
Christian filmmaking.
Have you ever considered being an actor or director of a major feature film? But what if God is calling you to do just that? Let this be your pulpit.
And you learn filmmaking on 2 backlots, a first-century backlot and a small-town backlot under the watchful eyes of Christian professional filmmakers like Dr. Mark Kuchin. So what are you waiting for?
469-655-3222. Transformation Film Institute, a place where passion meets purpose.
I wonder if penguins have knees. I wonder how many colors we can't see. I wonder why there's so many stars in the universe. I wonder if we ever looked like apes.
You want to find out?
I wonder if puppies have belly buttons.
Welcome back to Faith on Film. I'm having a lot of fun on today's show. Nicole is just so much fun to talk to. But you know what? Before continuing, I want you to just see a short clip of her work so you can kind of really understand a little bit about who she is. All right, here, show the clip.
She's here. See, it's perfect. Wait. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
Do I need to call my mom? Because my mom will totally lie for you.
Guy is so cute. They're sitting behind me. Can you see him? It's cute though. You can see me.
Holding hands with you when we're out at night. Got a girlfriend, you say it isn't right.
She let me hold him for a minute before they took him. Look, just like you.
You really do great work. But you also, you're not just a filmmaker. You're not, and I shouldn't say just, you're not a filmmaker, only a filmmaker. That's the way to put it. You're not only a filmmaker and an actress and a producer, you're also an author. You wrote a book, didn't you?
Well, yes, kind of. I mean, I did,
Kind
but
of?
when the Lord calls you to something, you kind of just go do it, even though it's not your main thing. So yes, I mean, this was a Christian thing. I actually have it. It's called Pure Power. They did such a great job with the...
Yeah, that looks really beautiful. I'll of course
cover.
put a full-on cover on there.
Yeah, it's called Pure Power. And I know the reason why I'm so excited about, this book and why I felt that I had to write it is because it is an uncomfortable subject that I think that people don't talk about much.
What's the subject?
Pure Power is, people breaking out of sexual sin and porn.
Ooh.
And so I wrote this actually 4 years ago, but a lot of people were scared to touch it because of the subject matter. But I think the way that they published it, even though it's in writing, like you can get the book, but you can also order it online. You can download it. So people can get it privately if they want to, and they can have Amazon deliver it or Barnes and Noble deliver it. Nobody really sees it. Although I think that these things it's important to get out into the light because the enemy cannot work there.
Right.
He cannot function. I think that that's a really big problem that we're having in the world right now. I mean, it's one of the biggest problems that Christians are facing. Even in the church, it's over 80% that are struggling with this. So to me, I wanted to be bold about it, and I wanted to share. And I've been able to see so many people break out of this area and completely be free. And I just don't want anybody in prison.
Wow. No, yeah, I agree. And it's sad because I know there's a report that says that a lot of these Christian conferences, and I go to all of these, and they've done a study and they show that during these Christian conferences are when they have the most porno rentals on their in-room movies. This is Christian conferences, so obviously a lot of the Christians there. So it's a definite attack that is there for the Christian community.
Yeah, I literally just got chills. Like my hair stood up on my arms for that because I didn't know that specific stat was also true, but that is not surprising. And it is, and that's what it is. It's an attack. So the point of the book is, yes, live in Christ, but also know your enemy. The way to battle is you have to know your enemy, and you have to know how to fight him with the Lord. Like only the Lord can do it through you, but there are certain ways. So there's, a bunch of tips, and there's a 40-day devotional for it. I've never seen a devotional for purity, so it's good.
Very nice. Now we've got about a minute left, maybe here. So there's one more thing I want to ask you about, and that is that you got called 7 times for The Sopranos to be on The Sopranos, and you turned it down?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
I strategically planned that I would do well enough that the casting director would keep calling me and not be offended, but do just not quite great enough. So that's why they kept calling me and calling me. But I didn't. It was 7 different roles, and I didn't want any of them because the way that the women were treated on Soprano, with the exception of the daughter, it was always the mistress. It was always something that I wouldn't have been wanting to do. So yeah.
Well, okay. I just wanted to check in on that. Now, I know that what you're doing, what I'm doing, what a lot of the folks that I bring on the show here are doing is what I call healthy soul food. And what I mean by that is that our souls need to be fed, just like our bodies get fed with the food we eat through our mouth. Our souls get fed with what we listen to or what we watch. And a lot of the entertainment that's out there now is just very unhealthy for our souls. So we're creating a lot of unhealthy souls. And this healthy entertainment, so it doesn't even have to be a preachy kind of a movie or a program, just something good and healthy for our souls with good biblical principles, and not promoting a lifestyle that would be completely contradictory to the way God wants us to live. So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I'm glad there was that change that came about for you to then start doing this. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
I mean, I'm easy to reach on social media. I try to even check my spam box a lot because I feel like that's how people tend to reach out. But Nicole Abisinio at Gmail easy email, so that's fine. They can use it.
That's terrific. Well, did you enjoy being here today?
Oh, it was horrible. It was the worst experience ever. It's my New York sarcasm coming through. Yes, you're one of my favorite people in the business.
Thank you.
Just
thank you.
Yeah, you're the good people to work with. So I'm very thankful.
Keep saying. No, I'm just kidding.
You can pay me later.
Okay.
It's fine.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, and I look forward to seeing you. I know that, maybe by the time people see this show, this quarantine thing will be over, because we do tape the shows a few weeks, sometimes a few months ahead of time. And right now we're all under quarantine. But I look forward to seeing you again at one of the events that we attend, all right?
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Thank you, Isaac.
Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Encourage TV. Family-friendly and faith-friendly content absolutely free. Subscribe today and watch hundreds of hours of content on our streaming channels. Visit encouragetv.com today.
Welcome back. I've totally run out of time on today's show. I barely have enough time to remind you to check out Parables TV, a place where you can watch some wonderful movies, documentaries, reality shows, all kinds of great content for you and your family. And it's all free, no subscription fee. All you have to do is go to parables.tv and sign up. That's parables.tv. And of course, don't forget to write me. I really want to hear from you. Simply write me at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Well, I've got no more time, so until next week, take care.